All right, sure. Come on, man. Sure. Up all them
I'm just going to talk over the top of it, so hopefully if I'm like YouTube won't delete it. Hopefully not. Keeps chopping it anyway, so yeah, I really recommend it. I'm going to turn it off actually.
Fuck off, Bill! Fuck off! Let you off the track, yo!
Okay, so Cyber Insekt, right? It's this tune. I just love it. It's from The Fall, the band The Fall. Not really going anymore. Mark E. Smith has passed away. Gone to the other side a few years ago now. But yeah, I recommend also if you look up Cyber Insekt spelt with a K instead of a C in Insekt, The Fall, FALL, The Fall. You want to look up what's her name? Oh, let me have to quick look. See what her name is. It's this Ziggy. I think it's Ziggy Stardust. Not is it Ziggy Stardust? I better check. Lizzie Stardust. That's what it is. Lizzie Stardust, right? Because I can't watch it on my platform that I've got here. It just it hardly plays any videos. I'm surprised I can even make videos. My platform is so shoddy. I need a new platform. What's a good platform? Has anyone got any ideas about what a good platform is to use? Because I'm on this terrible idea. I mean, it's probably a really bad idea, but I got this CD off of the internet for what's it called? The other one, not the Google, not the Windows type one. What's it called? The free one. The free one. Ah dear, I'm terrible at this, aren't I? The one that you get for free, businesses use. You know, what's it called? They do Umbungo. Was it Umbungo? Umbungo. Ah dear. I don't know how anyone can watch it. No wonder no one's watching my videos anymore. I just don't make any sense. Okay, what is it? Well, you have to use the keys when you want to use the computer. You know, instead of just using your mouse all the time, you're supposed to like. And I still try and do it with my mouse. I really need to learn all the key stuff. I can't think of the name. What is it? How do I remember the name of that thing? Dear. Let's go on to the next subject. Okay, so The Fall, Cyber Insekt. Anyway, that's right. That's the main subject. Yeah, it's this great tune. Go and watch Lizzie Stardust's version of it because she does a great video for it, and it's just totally cool. It's probably what helped me fall in love with the tune, actually, that video. But to me, some of the Fall stuff, Marquis Smith stuff, is ahead of its time, and this Cyber Insekt tune is just all about, you know, this time, as far as I'm concerned. It's like these people with their smartphones, you know, they're just sort of like sucked into them, you know. They've become like cyber insects. They're literally, a lot of people are using their insect brain, rather than their full brain. Their the human part of their brain, the most evolved part. They're stuck just using this little insect part of their brain and the bird part of their brain and stuff. This is why drugs are so important. Things like cannabis and various other, almost anything that's illegal. I mean, not anything that's illegal, because there are some things that are illegal that are probably best illegal, although actually making any drug illegal tends to make people use it more. I mean, they don't make like Datura illegal, and who uses Datura? Have there ever been a Datura problem? I've been smoking it lately. I think it's great. It's a more stronger painkiller than heroin. But there's no problem with it. I haven't got a problem with it. It's not like I'm going and stealing money off my neighbours or anything to sort of pay for my Datura habit. I think as soon as they make it illegal, it's like people are going to use it more, and it's going to create, all it does is create a black market. It's almost the only thing it does is like create a black market. The only people that benefit from drugs being prohibited is the black market, the criminals. It just creates criminals. That's what it does. That's what the law system is about, really, just to create criminals, to create a division. It's all about divide and conquer. Most people don't like it, but there's going to be some people that are going to use it anyway, and they'll pay whatever price, and they're draining money away from all the good people. The best thing anyone could do, everybody could do, is get rid of all the drug laws, and we'd all be a lot better off. Except the criminals and the police and the government, they wouldn't be any better off. They'd be worse off. Like, they wouldn't have as much. They wouldn't have they wouldn't have proper jobs to do. They wouldn't have anything to do, would they? They got rid of all the criminals. What's the government for? What's the police for? The only reason you've got laws is to make jobs for all these people and to keep everybody occupied, to keep everyone in slavery. If people just got together and said, right, we don't want any more laws about drugs, or we only want laws that are like about injuring people or stealing from people or causing pollution and ruining people's land or water supply, those sort of things should be criminalized for sure. But what you put in your body, what drugs and herbs you take, those things should not be against the law. Because, look what's happening. You've got a huge, great big black market. Loads of criminals get created. The taxpayer needs to pay for all these people in prison, and also pay for all the police that are putting them in prison and the law courts and stuff. You're paying all these taxes for things that don't need doing, that are actually just causing more harm than good. You people, your ignorance is costing the earth. It's making you live in like slavery. Ah, dear. You're sending your kids to school to be taught how to be poor, and to be slaves. That's what all they're learning. They're learning to be slaves. They're learning to be order followers. They're not being taught to think for themselves. So where children used to do better than their parents maybe, and then they would support their parents and give their parents like a good retirement. They would look after their parents when they get older. Now children can't do that because everyone's sending their kids to be dumbed down at school, so their children are slaves and they can't support them. So you end up in these care homes where people abuse you because all they've had is a really shit life as well, and they got really shit money, so they just treat you like shit. So So that's what you've got to look forward to in your retirement. Because you keep sending your kids to be dumbed down, you know, and you won't wake up. If you don't wake up, and you know, why isn't everybody talking about this? I mean, if people all just sort of shared this video and thought, yeah, let's all just get together and get rid of all these parasites, these sort of bureaucrats and parasites, and you know, people that are controlling the banks and the school system, and these stupid laws that create criminals when there's no need to create criminals, you know. We could all be in paradise. We could like have a much nicer life. But I suppose it wouldn't be as interesting, would it? That's the only problem. It wouldn't be interesting. And I suppose a lot of you're probably thinking, well, we're nearly towards the apocalypse. We're already halfway through a man-made mass extinction event. We might as well see what happens if we go the whole hog and just totally ruin the world and see what happens. Be an interesting crack, won't it? I mean, who knows? When everybody dies out, you know, the world becomes uninhabitable, we'll maybe just go into some kind of energy world paradise, you know. We'll all go to heaven and everything will be fine, and there'll be like lovely food and beer and stuff that you can drink, and you don't get a hangover. You can just keep drinking it, or you can listen to angels singing, you know. Maybe you'll sing as well. You can sing along with the angels or something, you know. Maybe you'll go to sort of Valhalla, and you can do like mock battles where when you die, you get reborn again in a sort of an ale house with loads of nice food, and you can just drink loads of ale until you full up, and then go and fight another battle and die and go back and wake up in an ale house again. Yeah. So a book I've been reading along these lines, just so you know that I do read stuff, right? I'll show you the book so you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Because you know my channel is about alchemy, right? So this guy Peter F. Hamilton, the Neutronium Alchemist, it's science fiction. It's a fat book. It's like 1,200 and something pages, 1,245 or more. Yeah, those. Yeah. So in there, they're kind of talking about these people that have been reanimated, kind of thing, that they've taken over, that they possess other humans. It's like a virus where one of them gets hold of a normal human. They can open up a door that allows a dead person to sort of possess their body, and they suddenly get all these powers. They got all these sort of magical powers and stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be science fiction, and it's kind of a bit fantasy, you know. But anyway, the reason they come back to living humans is because where they go when you go where they go when you die is like a terrible place, and it's really, really so boring that you just would do anything to sort of go back to be alive again, you know. So they start coming back. It's just another idea. It sounds a bit like hell, you know, how hell is described, but not quite. More like purgatory, I suppose, but just incredibly boring, so that you just you're stuck doing nothing and just on your own all the time, you know, or with other people that are also feel bored because they haven't got any senses to use. I mean, I haven't read it all yet. There's an idea that there could be some other options. It basically, you could almost, it's like a science fiction version of the Bible extrapolation. So yeah, there could be something to it. It tries to cover a lot of possibilities and look at them in a sort of science fiction kind of way. But anyway, the main idea to start with in the book is that when people die, it's not much fun, you know. That's kind of what I remember from memories from before I was born. Since I've been born, I've looked into past lives. I've discovered some memories. It seems like I've discovered some memories from past lives anyway. But yeah, the memory from between my last lifetimes, like this sort of, I suppose you call it a bardo experience or bardo memory. There was just all these hallways, like it was like a library with all these hallways of like files or like there were lifetimes, but they looked like, you know, like in your computer, you've got like a CD slot to put CDs in. They look like that. They look like sort of layers and layers of them, and maybe with a little screen in front of them, so that you could press the button and you could have like a preview of the lifetime. And there's all different lifetimes, and they're all different, like people and creatures, you know. And if one like resonates with you, you tend to sort of get sucked into it. But to me, with this lifetime, because also you've got like a guardian spirit, what seems, I suppose, like a guardian spirit. This guy that stands there, he's all tall and dark and but wise looking, you know, and quiet and sort of respectful. And so anyway, he's sort of like looking at this particular lifetime, and you know, I look at it and I just think, no, I don't like this lifetime. I don't want to come here. But then he sort of looks at it more strongly, with his dark eyes, like a beam of like dark energy, you know, like saying, "This is a lifetime for you. This is you will learn from this lifetime." And I'm thinking, I don't want to learn. It looks horrible. I don't want to go through all that kind of crap, you know. And just so you know, in this lifetime, I've already gone through 2 5-month periods. I mean, it was a while ago. 2 5-month periods where I was only getting 10 minutes sleep on average per 24 hours for 5 months. And then like I had an 18-month gap. This was about 20 years ago. And then another 5-month period where I'm getting like on average 10 minutes sleep. 10 minutes is the minimum amount of sleep you can survive on. So I was surviving for 5 months without realizing. I didn't know that, but I knew something was not right. You know, it was like pretty hairy stuff. You know, it just like, I don't know what it was. It was maybe like mercury poisoning and a mixture of stuff. Too much alcohol, not enough nutrition. Who knows? All kinds of mineral deficiencies, I should think. You know, on really low money, and you've got loads of drug and alcohol problems. It's like you can't eat properly. You're not getting enough nutrition, and you're wasting it all from like all the alcohol. It's just you're ruining your body, just so you can feel normal some of the time. Because that's what traumatic stress does to you. You know, it just like you can't think clearly about stuff. That, you know, your nerves are just constantly like in a state of total panic, and you can't calm down, so you can't get sleep. You know, you can't relax. There's no relaxation. You can't relax. It's like the world is constantly caving in on your head. it's really hard to explain what it's like, because you don't know any different when you've had it from like such an early age. Like, that's all you know. So you can't, it's really hard to put it into words so that you can actually explain to someone what's actually happening, like a doctor or something, because it's just, your brain is not working properly. It's overloaded. It's overloaded with stress, so that you can't think clearly enough to put anything into words properly about it. And especially when you start trying to think about it, and because your brain's overloaded, so you're trying to think about it, and then you're trying to put it into words, and it's just, it all gets caught up in your mouth. You can't spit out the words, you know. So you can't explain to a doctor what's happening. You just sort of like, you just everything just rams up in your throat and your mouth. You can't say what's happening. So you're just stuck in this nightmare, and there's nothing you can do about it except to smoke cannabis and drink alcohol, which gives you a few hours of like being able to think clearly and talk about stuff. But then you end up with the side effects of, like, you know, coming down, or having to use loads of money to buy cannabis, which is really expensive, and alcohol, which is also got loads of taxes and stuff. You know, so you spend, and when you're on like benefits and you haven't got any money, so I've had to go for years of trying to get food from the wild. You know, it's like I'm on benefits, right? So I'm not working, but it's not like I get much rest. I'm having to get food from the wild. You know, I cook all my meals myself. You know, I can't afford to eat like ready meals or takeaways or stuff. You know, I have to buy food from scratch and cook it all myself. You know, and for one person, that becomes a lot of work. You know, it's just like a housewife all the time for one person, but it's worse than that. If you're a housewife, you can buy stuff in larger amounts, you know, and if you're feeding a whole family, it's easier to buy a nice selection of food, you know, and not waste it. If you're living on your own, like one person, it's like, if I want a bit of cauliflower, I've got to buy a whole cauliflower, you know, or a whole head of broccoli. You can't just buy a little bit of these things most of the time. You know, or like a whole big pack of onions or something, you know, or I've got to go round like to 8 different shops all around the town, miles apart. It could take all day just to do the shopping. You know, it's like that. It's like, you know, there's no way out of it. You know, it doesn't matter what you do. There's all these like huge problems. So this is one of the things about doing the work. I started to like get like these powders and stuff, like green powders, like oh dear. See, this needs using up. It's this great big thing of like green powder, green superfood, organic powder. I haven't been using it as much as I should probably. I like to have it with a bit of pine pollen and coconut water. And then there's the bee pollen, which I leave to I'll be leave overnight usually to like soak in water. There's about four spoonfuls in there, and it's all settled to the bottom. And there's also some enzymes in there, some bromelain and papain from pineapple and papaya to help break down the protein. It's really good, you know. It's like, I do notice the difference if you put the enzymes in there. Anyway, so there's all this sort of stuff I've been having, so I don't have to keep shopping and cooking so much, and I'm simplifying my life to live as like a single person. But it's called. It's like it's hard work, and there's the alcohol as well. You know, I just got into this sort of like place where I'm kind of dependent on alcohol, or I have been. You know, so doing the work is about trying to sort of like strengthen myself up so I can like have holidays from alcohol. You know, I want to go like a 6 month like sabbatical away from alcohol. So I went in the sea today. You know, I had a nice day today. Went in the sea. It was about 9 degrees apparently, according to the chart next to the sea. There's like a little chart, and it tells you what the sea temperature is. It said 9 degrees. It's really cold. It felt like 5 degrees. You know. Actually, I think I can't tell which direction the water was coming from. It was really cold. You know, it was like I only stayed in for about 2 minutes. I couldn't stay in under my neck, like to my neck. I normally try and stay under my neck, but it was really hurting my arms and my chest. You know, like really cold. So I stayed up to my waist. You know, with my arms up like this, out the water most of the time. I did go, you know, down a few times, but it bloody hurts. It was so cold. It was really hurting. It's supposed to be like that. I did do the breathing though. The thing is, I did do the breathing properly for the first time. I've done the breathing and gone in the cold water straight after, and it was sunny, so I dried off in the sun for about 25 minutes or so. I got, you know, just got plenty of sun, so I feel like I've got loads of vitamin D. That's really good. Can notice the difference. I just feel really more relaxed and more grounded. I had some seaweed today. I'd missed it out on seaweed. And iodine. Yeah. So yeah, it was nice to have some iodine. I feel better. You know, these things, this throat thing, is never really completely gone away, but most of the time it goes into like remission. So I can feel it, and having this, like what I was talking about earlier in my earlier video about the cheese and ham sandwich and the port wine, it does seem to have made a difference. You know, I do feel more relaxed, and I'm, you know, there's other things I can do. It's just like getting them all like worked out. You know, I've been talking in this video about some of my, like, you know, my illnesses and the traumatic stress, because it's could be really hard to manage. And it's just that I've found that cannabis, I go and like collect cannabis from like the street, you know, because it's too expensive to buy. And I've been focusing on buying all these herbs and stuff. And I've got tons of herbs and supplements that I've spent loads of money on. So that because I've stopped buying. You know, I stopped buying all this stuff that I was buying. I used to spend so much money on cannabis, like £20 a day, £20 a week rather. £20 a day. No, I couldn't afford that. Yeah, £20 a week. So yeah, this thing about, I was just making. Was it this video or was it the other video that I made about money? Yeah, so part of the work is, yeah, you know, it's about making money, living properly, and you know, so me getting, instead of buying cannabis, which I used to do for like, you know, about 20 years or so, well, or more, you know, no, not quite 20 years actually. I just think Yeah, hang on, because since I was about 16 until 26, 36, yeah, 40 or 43 or something, 42, you know, yeah, so like 25 years of buying cannabis, spending all my spare money on cannabis. Yeah, so going and picking it up off the street, which I've been doing since I've been doing the work. Around that time, I used to do it occasionally when I run out of money and I really couldn't, like, I'm really desperate. So I found out, after a few years, like, that I could, if I really looked around when I was desperate, I could find a few like joint ends in the street. But now, since I've been doing it, like since I've been doing the work, because it enables me to afford things like, making videos and keeping on the internet and stuff. If I was to buy cannabis, I wouldn't be able to afford this. I'd have to stop making videos. I wouldn't be able to eat properly. I wouldn't be able to afford all the herbs and supplements. So, it's a way of saving money. I've been fine tuning it lately so that I go out, when the sun comes up. That's a good time to sort of go and find joint ends, and then you end up saving a lot of. Well, you save a huge amount of money. I just basically don't buy it. I did go through like 3.5 years without buying any. I had a little problem because my money got stopped. It's funny because it sort of sounds counterintuitive, but when they reduced my money, I had to start buying cannabis again because I couldn't eat properly, and I just got too stressed out, so I had to start buying it. I couldn't find enough on the street, but when I'm relaxed and I've got enough money, I don't have to buy it. I can find enough on the street to just keep me sort of ticking along, not enough so that I can, get everything I need to do done. But when they stop my money, that's when I have to go and buy cannabis. It sounds like counterintuitive. That's how it works. I would much rather eat properly, and get the sort of supplements I need and start doing the work. But it does actually involve money doing the work and time and energy. And I suppose not most people haven't got the time and the money and the energy for it. You probably need to be on the sick, on benefits, But I imagine that I'm going to try and do maybe people can tell me if they think it's a good idea. If they want to hear an updated version. So for poor people, what can you do if you've got drug habits or something, or things that cost you money, but you want to do the work, but you just don't know how to sort of get enough money because basically what you've got to do is you just have to sacrifice, and that's what I've done. Going instead of buying my cannabis, which is illegal where I live anyway, I now go and look for it on the streets. And this obviously isn't going to apply to everyone who wants to do the work. There could be other things, there are other ways of saving money. I mean, also, what do you want to do with your money? I mean, everybody should want to do loads of stuff. I mean, wouldn't you like your nice big house with a big garden and a couple of fields, with some cattle or something, and a horse, and some chickens and some people that worked for you that will help work the land for you, a nice car, nice clothes, money so that you can go traveling on nice holidays, and maybe have an import export business where you import and export stuff, things that you're interested in that you like yourself anyway. So it's like it doesn't even seem like work. It's more like a hobby, but you still make money from it. You know, there's all kinds of, I'm sure if we thought about it, we've all made bad decisions, and like we've accepted much lower standards than we really feel we'd like to have. There's a part of us that is like a different person and actually like a really like vibrant, wealthy, abundant lifestyle with all kinds of good things, from all around the world, and all different like pieces of art and nice furniture and paintings and wall hangings and nice cars, whatever, all kinds of stuff. But also like good experiences with people, and nature and life, But what have we got instead? People are just like wasting their lives away mostly. I mean, sometimes I'm waiting for people to sort of like like say something, ask me a really good question. The thing is, I don't really know. That's another thing. I'm not really interested in a lot of viewers because I mean, most people are kind of a bit shitty, aren't they? You're probably not you. If you watch this video this long, you're probably okay, But I'm just saying that most people are, I can't imagine many people would actually watch this video all the way through. I reckon I could probably like leave this video until the end of time and still it would have no views. They've done a real stitch up on YouTube, they're like with the divide and conquer thing. They're sort of like, I had loads of friends and I used to communicate with them and stuff, and it all just sort of fizzled out. I don't know what they brought in the Google Plus thing. Now they've phased it out. It's like, and they've just created a sort of like darkness. They've switched the light off. Where the light was on YouTube, now they've switched it off. It's like it's all gone into darkness, ignorance and stuff. It's like they just fucked with our heads. I mean, it was a definite ploy, definite sort of strategy to sort of like deliberately fuck YouTube up, and make it sort of destroy any sort of sense of community. That's what I experienced anyway. I suppose it's that time of day, isn't it? What is it time? It's like 6 o'clock, 6:30 here. Yeah, it's like G Plus come along and my channel just stopped growing. It just sort of like all just went like pear shaped and it's like I used to be able to see how to communicate. People used to communicate on the communication page. People had conversations. The whole way that YouTube was set up was just so different. It was so much more user friendly. And now what they've done, they've just made it so that, I don't know, they've done it all gradually as well, and they didn't warn anyone. They just started making changes, and it put everyone on edge. you know, and you found like it was so much more work to communicate with people, and everyone was on edge, and everyone was like, you know, the grown-ups have taken over again, and they started messing with our toys. You know, they're taking our toys away. It's like that kind of attitude, you know, the authoritarian. We know what's best for you. You know, we're not even going to consult you. We're just going to like put these shackles on you. You know, make you have to work 3 times harder for your fun, to have your fun. So it's not fun anymore. It can't be fun anymore. You know. I'm sure there's a lesson here. This is another thing about doing the work. I mean, it's like you've got to basically just go with the, you know, you've got to follow these things through, see what's going on, learn the patterns, because this is a pattern that they're going to keep using, and they have used it over and over again, you know, to control people. And if something doesn't work, they will they will use the next level. You know, they will, if it comes to it, they'll use violence. You know, they would rather not use violence, but that's their, you know, that's their fallback position. You know, if psychological things don't work, then we use violence. I think that's one of the reasons people just fall for the psychological programming, is because they know that if they don't, then the violence is the what the government and the people that in power will use. You know, I think people need to know all this sort of stuff. They need to understand what's happening and see that we need to go right to the heart of the vampire. You've got to stake the vampire through the heart, you know? If you want to get rid of it, that is, you know? And why wouldn't you? Or do you want to be slaves? Maybe you want to be slaves. You want to just have no life and be empty vessels, you know, like shadows of the people you could have been, you know? I expect you do. So that's why I have to keep my life kind of a relatively secret. I mean, however long that will last, I don't know. But you know, it's like people don't like people to have fun, and so if I'm having fun and I'm basically seeing you people for what you really are, like fakes and sinners and stuff. And I know that you're not having a good time. You're not enjoying yourself. You sort of like, so when you see someone really enjoying themselves and really like being authentic, it's like a thorn in your side, isn't it? You just can't. How do you get rid of it? You know. Well, the only obvious way is to do the work. But then, if I'm telling you that, you can't take me. You can't listen to me, because you know you're the person I'm the person that's really pissed you off, aren't I? So you can't really listen to what I'm saying. So you've got to come up with your own idea. So I'm telling you, you've got to do the work. So if you want to play the psychological game, I'll have to play it too. That's what you've got to do. You've got to do the work. So I don't know. Am I trying to help them, or am I pushing them, or pulling them? You know, they're on the edge of a precipice. Have I pushed them, or did I pull them? I don't know. It's like layers of an onion, isn't it? You know, who knows? I mean, this wouldn't happen if they would just sort of wake up and sort of like, you know. But when you've been like, you know, it's like, you know, you can't just set a wild sheep into the wild. It will just get eaten straight away, you know. Doesn't know how to defend itself. I mean, I suppose if you let them all go, some would survive. It's a lot of it's these instinctive, emotional things, you know, that people like. I'm rambling, aren't I? I know. Isn't that what this channel is about? It's me just rambling on about stuff. It's like all about my ego. Anyway, since starting the work, I did have times where I was like pretty like having a bit of a tough time, and it does seem like I've made progress but it's difficult to judge it just yet. Yeah, so I would have made less videos. That's another thing. It's like my it's like a tumor in a way. Maybe this is partly this thing. Actually, it feels better now just talking about this stuff. It's like this is therapeutic. Me making this video. It's like getting stuff off my chest. It's coming out of my mouth, and it's sort of like pulling all that nasty stuff out of it. It's talking about the truth. It's like getting stuff off your chest. Uh, so I feel better, and it feels therapeutic. See, the other thing about making videos, doing the videos about the work, is that they could be, you might think, you like I made a lot of videos, and I have made. It's like must be getting on for 1,000 videos. I mean, I've made more than that, but a lot I deleted quite a long time ago. I deleted loads of videos I should have probably kept. It's a shame. They're probably still somewhere around in some sort of laboratory, some government like underground warehouse somewhere, on like an old floppy disk or something. Anyway, it's fun. It's fun making videos for me. Guys, it's actually quite nice. Actually, not having anyone talking on the top chat, anyone coming on. I feel like I can really let myself go. I can let my hair down. There's no one bothering me like with silly nonsense and just like I don't know, not just other things. It's just like so I can let my brain just flowing now like a sort of wave. It's interesting doing this breathing because I've done the breathing today, the Wim Hof method breathing, where you sort of breathe deeply in and out 25 times, and then you breathe out, and you try to hold your lungs empty for as long as you can, but for 2.5 minutes. So I'm pretty sure I've done 2.5 minutes because I was counting like 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, and it was 2.5. I went up to like 5 lots of 30. And it's funny because you feel like you keep feeling like you can't go on, but you go on, and you just somehow you manage it. You carry on and then because quite a lot of the time when I'm making videos, I don't know what to say, and I get sort of like after I finish what I wanted to say. I make some long videos, but a lot of the time it's like I don't know what to say, and it's like. But today, because I've done the breathing, I've done the cold therapy, I just feel like my brain is sort of like it's like it's had a little shower. You know, it's become more fertile. You know. Yeah. And because my brain's more fertile, my body sort of like feels like good as well. I felt like so I've had quite a good day for cannabis today. I found quite a lot of nice spliff ends. This morning I was taking it easy, having the not so strong ones. So in the evening I've got some more stronger ones. It's amazing actually. It's actually it feels better getting it from the street than it does from buying it from like dealers, because I go through periods where I don't have very much, and I do more exercise, and but even today, you know, I've done my cold therapy, I've done my breathing exercises, and I feel pretty good, you know. I know I mentioned my throat, and it sounds like you think, oh, throat cancer, it could get worse, but I've been dealing with it for 10 years. You know, it feels okay now. I don't notice it at all. You know, it's all gone. Oh, there's a little tiny little thing there. No. Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, a little bit of sensitivity there. Yeah, one of those glands, I suppose, must be a bit swollen. So that's what it is. It's a gland swollen, but that can lead to other problems. You know, where you've had X-rays for teeth and you've got mercury fillings and stuff. It's going to cause problems, you know, around that area. And because I smoke as well and drink. But it's like developing your intuition. You start to find ways of dealing with these things. I mean, I think intuition, and it goes with meditation. When you meditate, it sort of like helps to balance your left and right side of the brain. And certain types of yoga, I think, like pranayama, maybe, help balance your left and right side of your brain, or the left and right side of your body. If you do the right sort of exercises. If somebody reminds me, I'm probably going to do some actually on camera. So you know, I'll do some pranayama exercises. That might be actually really cool. Interesting thing about cannabis, actually, when you smoke cannabis, a lot of the time your brain just goes into these sort of like other dimensions, or other like sort of like areas of the astral plane sort of thing. It's quite an astral plane sort of drug, cannabis, you know. I mean, if you think of the Matrix films, you can understand a lot of why the mainstream government and that doesn't like people smoking cannabis, or has made it illegal, because even if it's like basically there's two sides to this. Hi HLC. There's two sides to this. So they make it illegal so more people smoke it, right? But the people that do smoke it, they're going to get more paranoid because they're worried about getting like busted and put in prison and stuff. So it creates a whole different effect, you know. But then it creates a load of chaos. This is part of their this sort of shamanic, not shamanic, Masonic, maybe shamanic, I don't know, shamanic, Masonic agenda to sort of create chaos, order out of chaos. You know, nice to see you, HRC. I was just getting like interested in like being on my own here, not having anyone watching for an hour, and I started to get into it. So you might want to watch the video later or tomorrow or something. Probably you won't, but who feeds on the paranoia? Oh, right, the Archons or whoever they are. Yeah. Archon. That's funny. Archon. Our con. Like as a sort of con artist sort of thing. See, to me, paranoia is a good thing. It's interesting because it creates chaos, right? Now, you can think of that as a bad thing. Now, what it is, they're going to like try to profit off of it, right? And keep everyone in control. The thing is, there's no real reason why people like me and you can't turn it to our advantage. You know, we've got this way, we can look at it like, all right, okay, there's all this chaos. Everybody's in chaos. How do we turn this to our advantage? You know? That's the key. That's the thing to do, is to ask the right question. How do we turn it to our advantage? What don't they like? See, you have to be when I'm talking like this, HRC, you've got to be more specific. They don't like that at all. What is that? So I'll have to update you about the rest of these videos I've been making. I went swimming today in the sea. It was really cold, so I dried in the sun because the sun was nice and warm. So I found, I dried off in the sun, and I've done the breathing exercises. The Wim Hof breathing exercises, but only for about 2.5 minutes, I think, maybe 3 minutes, probably 2.5. It wasn't the 4 minutes like I'd done the other day when you was watching. Ah, see. Oh, right. Well, I am an idiot. Yeah. They don't like you studying about them. Yeah, well, they don't like you doing the work. That's why it's like a battle. I think another thing I mentioned was the Silmarillion. Not the Silmarillion. Where is it? Oh, it's in my bedroom. The Lord of the Rings. The first book of the Lord of the Rings with Tom Bombadil. Because he's not in the films. But he's this really great character that really, that's how the book starts off. The first few chapters, you're straight into Tom Bombadil, but he's not in the films. And that's what the Matrix does. It tries to reduce everything down to its nuts and bolts. So they don't want to be seen. They don't want to be, they don't want you to be aware of them, because if you're aware of them, you bring them into the equation. They want to be outside the equation. They want you to be in the equation. They want me to be in the equation, everyone else to be in the equation, but not themselves. So when you start trying to study them, of course they don't like it, That's what I think anyway. And that's why most people don't like buy into it. They don't like deal with this stuff. Because if they do, the Archons start giving them a hard time. One of the ways I've solved this is to keep my channel quite small, so I can talk about this stuff. Who I'm talking to about it is difficult to know for sure, but At least I can talk about it, and I'm relatively left alone. I suppose it depends what your intentions are, or if whatever they are, you can convince the powers that be that your intentions aren't any threat to them. I like the idea of in Star Trek the Borg. How when they go to visit the Borg ships, they can walk around as long as they don't interfere with anything. They are basically left alone. So I think there's an element of that when it comes to the Matrix. You can do things. You've got magical powers, and you've got to have responsibility for that, and you've got to learn, and you constantly have to learn about stuff. There's always more to learn. It's a chaotic system, so there's always loads to learn. There's always things going on that you don't know about. There's always new knowledge out there, especially with the internet like it is, and that's another thing. The way the internet is, it's like there's like how do we communicate? I mean, this is the thing that I was mentioning also about G Plus and YouTube. It's all been taken over by sort of Agent Smith, agents have taken over YouTube and G Plus, and it's divide and conquer. They're like organized enough into like fields of people, like little sort of farmed communities, Oh yeah, you saw Naked. I done that. I'm afraid I'm a little bit ahead of you. I saw them. You must have been getting on for 20 years ago now. They don't like being seen naked. Ah dear. You better not tell anyone else about that. I'll keep it between me and you. It's like we'll keep it as our little secret, okay? Not something you want to go bragging about, mate. All right? But I've been there. I know what you're saying. I don't talk about those things really. Best be on the safe side, You can play your game. You can choose your battles. There's no point sort of trying to walk around being with a big crown on your head, because you just get knocked down. You mean figuratively naked? It's the same thing. They are figurative. What are you talking about? You're calling me a clown. You're a clown. It takes one to know one, doesn't it? Calling me a clown. That's so funny. I'm over an hour. I think it's time to go now. This was quite a good video, actually. I quite enjoyed it, especially before you came on, HRC. Although I've enjoyed your company as well. It's just that I'm getting tired of it now. So I think I'm going to call it a day. So anyone else who's watching, they probably watched it all the way through till the end, and so I'm quite happy with this video. Yeah, oh no, I might actually carry it on for a bit longer, because I was just thinking when I'm like, I often think that I haven't got anything else to say, but then I just have to stop a minute and think, oh, no, I've got loads of stuff to say. It's just sometimes when I come to the end of something, it's like My brain is organic. It's an organic. You know what a brain looks like? It's like a sort of cauliflower, isn't it? You know. It's organic, you know. So you have to sort of like you full one you go through one pathway to the end of it, right? And it's all spirally and stuff, and you get to the end of it, and then you have to go back and start another spiral, you know, which ends up in a similar place. This is how you think. This is how you talk. This is how our language is. It's like a cauliflower, you know. And you've seen those cauliflowers that are like fractal shapes. That's what you're aiming at. You're aiming at that fractal shape, but you've only got a normal cauliflower to work with. So you can't actually ever achieve it, but you can try, you know. This is why not many people make sense, you know. I think it's because we're basically thinking like a cauliflower, and we're trying to work in terms, our imagination is going like, oh, I'm actually a fractal pattern. I need to speak in fractals. And they start trying to speak in fractals, and no one can understand them. You know, I mean, I'm speaking in fractals. That's probably why no one can really understand me. And other people, when I look at people, other people, they're also speaking in fractals because their brain is just like a cauliflower. And what's that supposed to mean? You should do your show behind a veil. Is that supposed to be like, that's not a compliment, is it? I thought you looked quite handsome without your beard, HRC, and with your beard, by the way, so you know. Because I'm not playing these games. What you mean? Why would I? And then, see, I already talked about this. See, that's kind of like that's fairy talk to me, you know. That sounds like fairy talk, I'm afraid. If you want to be sort of like egotistical about it yourself, you can think of it like elven talk. I prefer to call them fairies, but you know. You know, you're not watching today. I noticed that no one's watching. I've got no thumbs up. No one's watching. It's been like it all the time. All the videos I've made today, no one's watching. No thumbs up. But you keep turn up. You're like a ghost. You didn't die, did you? You sure you haven't died? Well, I didn't see any thumbs up. Usually, it tells me straight away if there's any thumbs up or anyone's watching. It says 0, 0. It's got two little people standing together, and it's got a 0 next to it, and it's got a thumb up like that, and then it's got a 0 next to that as well. And it's been like that for ages. Every video. I don't believe. I think you might have died, HRC. You might just be a ghost. Can you check that? Go and have a look around your flat. See if there's a dead body. See if you can see a dead body that looks remarkably like you. Just have a quick look. Yeah, that's probably what it is. I hope it's not, by the way. I hope you are alive, and I hope it's just YouTube has just made another boo-boo. So that you, yeah, it's lying to me. Okay, yeah, I've got it. It does it all the time, you know. It's like they can't find something to lie about, so they just lie about anything. I saw you done a little video about it the other day. You know, your statistics and stuff. It's like it's always inaccurate. It's amazingly you think with all this technology, you know, and all the sort of updates and stuff that you get, and all the advancements, and they'd have it worked out now. But you know, I look at different platforms, and the figures are completely different. You know. So yeah, you can't tell for sure what's going on. Probably usually there's more people watching than you realise. So probably I might have 150,000 people watching me right now, and I'm not really. I don't know. So if you are watching, you 150,000 lovely people, just share my video with the rest of the world, but not your best friend, right? But everyone else except your best friend, you know, and then we'll all be happy. Okay. Another video. Yeah. Okay. I know. Yeah, you do some interesting videos. I don't always thumb them up. I do thumb up a fair amount of your videos, though. About probably 1 in 3. Because I'm trying to be a critic, you know. If I don't understand it, or I don't like it that much, I'm not going to thumb it up. But you know, I do thumb up them because I like them, you know. Whereas you thumb up my videos because I'm just like an incorrigible character with hardly any viewers, and you just like, you know, sponsoring me like a sponsor, which I don't mind. I think that's great. And I appreciate it, HRC. I do appreciate it because you know, every little thumb up helps for me. I know I don't encourage like lots of viewers on that, but I do encourage thumbs up though, if I can. I'm sure it helps my channel in some way or other, you know. You know, I look at it like in terms of ratios, how many viewers I get and how many thumbs up. If I get four watches and 3 thumbs up, then it's like that's 75%. That's like, to me, that's pretty good. That's approaching like the golden age, you know. And it has happened. Sometimes I look at it and there are, you know, only a few watches and several thumbs up, and it's almost out, you know. Yeah, that's nice when that happens. And if I had loads, I see whenever you see videos and there's like 2 million views, you never get 1.5 million thumbs up, do you? You know. So in that sense, I'm doing a lot better than a lot of the more, you know, the more popular viewers, because most people are fickle. I would rather have a few decent friends, a handful of decent friends that I can rely on, I can get along with, talk to, like, and understand, and well, not completely understand, but you know, at least mostly understand and feel like you're communicating on a relatively equal level, you know. Oh, I hope this is okay. Yeah, I tried. When I put show on some of your comments sometimes, and I think yeah, one time it went all funny. It went all weird. I don't know why that was, but you know, it seems to be okay now though. I just click on show and that. But they do sort of like hold some of your comments for review sometimes. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So, what should I talk about, HRC? Seeing as you're here, like occupying my time and sort of like sidetracking me, I forgot what I was talking about. What should I talk about? Most people. So I'll bet you'll have to think about that. Of course you will. You'll have to think about that. It's not going. You're not going to come up with an instant answer. Because you have to think it's like go on, throw me a curved ball. What about something about finances, like in America, where to invest your money? Because you really stumped me with something like that. There. Surely I should have a smoke, shouldn't I? What time is it? Oh, 7 o'clock. I think we're okay to carry on smoking now. Talk about the archons. Oh, that's one of my favourite subjects. So that's no problem at all. Now, back in the good old days, right, when I started on YouTube, one of the videos I probably kind of stupidly deleted, I should think, although it's probably on my the hard drive of my old laptop where I originally recorded it. But I talked about going to the heart of where the archons live. It's like a nest, but you have to go into the astral plane and find their nest, right, where they all come from, and go in there and blast it all up, and go to the heart of the nest and blast it all up, right, with like your sort of, I suppose, some sort of psychic energy that you've got. Anyway, when you've done that, then it opens up into like this other world, and there's a whole other world of more archons, and you have to go through them. It's like a I suppose it's kind of like one of those old-fashioned shoot 'em up computer games, like Space Invaders or something, Defender, or where you just go through these like levels. There was 3 or 4 levels you had to go through, and you eventually kill the baddie. Or one of those, like where you. Oh dear. Oh, I remember it anyway. It was fun when I made the video. Okay, so my theory about the archons, right, is that they are like an astral parasite that's like a virus. So it just keeps repeating and altering and growing, and it connects onto humans, and then it sucks our energy, our minerals, and like stuff out of us, and it can then start forming semi-real or semi-solid entities that can actually fool you into believing that they're real people, and you don't even realize. So sometimes someone that you knew could have their energy sucked out of them, and they'd be replaced by like a fake, just like that Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That's what the archons do. They've got all these sort of things working for them. It's like it's the same thing as this is what Star Trek, the Borg, is about. They're the archons, the rulers. It's only one ruler, really. It's the same like Agent Smith. He's just one person. It's the devil. It's I Am Legion. It's that. It's the same thing. It's just a virus. It's like, but it's on the astral plane. So it connects with your emotions and your psyche. So you've got to be really, really together, and you've got to do the work, and you've got to basically take the right drugs, like natural drugs, not the drugs that the doctors want to give you. Those are evil. They are they're like being taken over by the archons. Basically, anything with a large mainstream authority attached to it is going to be taken over by the archons. So, you know, you've got to think the banks, the governments, the school system, the medical establishment, all those kind of things, you know, religions, mainstream religions, the major charities, the media, you know, just all the main institutions, they're all going to be taken over. And it's going to carry on like that until people wake up. So people start realizing what's going on. And it could easily flip like dominoes, just flipping all the other way, you know. So everyone knows what's going on. But it comes from doing the work. You need to do the work, spread the message to people so that they know what's happening and know what to do, because it's really straightforward. It's really straightforward and easy, and it's easy to see what's going on. You just have to sort of wake up, start taking the right nutrition, doing the right sort of exercises, and it all becomes a lot easier to see what's going on when your brain's working properly. You know, there's herbs you can take to balance the left and right side of your brain. There's nutrition you can take to feed your brain all the nutrition that it needs so it can think clearly and see things properly. Then there's videos you can watch and history that you can learn so that you can see how all these things have evolved like they have. And then you can learn to do the right thing. And you can see that there are only certain possibilities, a few possibilities about what's going on. I'm not saying I know exactly what's going on. I'm saying that it seems that these archons have been around for a really long time, and they have got things on the cooker, cooking up. They're cooking up stuff, you know, and it's what they do. And you can find out this stuff. A lot of it, it takes a while to get used to it because it's so bizarre when you know, compared to what you've been programmed to think. You know, the stuff that you see on TV is sold to you as like fiction. So people tend to believe it as fiction, think of it as fiction, whereas a lot of it is a lot more real. Than you're led to believe it is. See, I made a video about this before. HRC. I've already killed them. I'm afraid there's none left. All you've got is the virus that's still floating around, but that's going to gradually go away. But you can fight that if you want. It won't do you any good, but you can still fight it just for your, you know, just to make you feel better. You know, you can hack away at it. It's just like dust, really. But, you know, feel free to hack away at it with your sword or whatever. But I already killed him a few years ago. Ah. You're welcome. Just a bit of lemon in the port, last bit of port there. See, the archons is a word from the Greek. I think it's the Greek. It just means leaders, you know, or rulers. You know, people that told people what to do. You know, they're like the boss. It just kind of means boss. And although there's this other story, right? There's a story that apparently goes back to Atlantis, where the archons were more like gods or some sort of like alien sort of astral creatures that were like a virus, some sort of alien virus. I think it connects with the Wetiko, what the American Indians call the Wetiko, and it takes over people's like their consciousness, and it sort of it just basically takes over. It's like a possession, but it's more like it's like almost like a virus. You know, people replicate it. It's everywhere. It's like Legion, and it makes people follow orders. They become order followers, and they obey authority and bureaucracy and the written word. They see it all as like their god. You know, you can't reason with them, you know, about it, because they just see it as their god, and you can't. There's nothing you can say to them about it to get them to see reality. You know, that this is just words that somebody else has written down to deceive them and to make them like follow orders. And they've been taught to follow orders in the school system. Once they've gone through this school system, it's like they're changed forever. They just become total slaves. They've got no free will anymore. It's like they've lost their free will. They're no longer human. And the people like myself, who's like traumatized by the school system, we're still clinging to our humanity, you know, and it's like these beings that control the system, they're trying to eradicate humanity, or trying to sort of squeeze the life out of it. like the juice out of a lemon. And get us to run like on a treadmill to destroy the earth. You know, it's all in the Bible. It's funny because it's in the book of Revelations. You know, it basically talks about this. I find myself seeing it. I mention this because I find myself seeing this stuff that's going on, and it's all like, you know, when you sort of lay it out properly and you see what's going on, you see how different types of mythology connect with each other. And you see like a much more dynamic, full picture of what's going on. And this is why I think the school systems have been corrupted. And it may be a good thing. It's easy to knock it, you know. But the school system, what it does, it might cause people like me to have post-traumatic stress disorder and be permanently traumatized. But it's also telling us on another level, a higher level, if you like, that there is a war going on. You're at war. This whole world is at war. You know, this whole world is at war. That's what it's saying. The reason Atlantis fell was because they didn't know how to distinguish between real people and archons. It's like now with the government and the medical establishment, you basically can't tell what's going on. I mean, it seems on the surface like making cannabis illegal is a bad thing, but when you have to, when the archons have to sort of like learn how to be deceptive and like use cannabis, right? And cannabis is something that makes you more awake, right? So when they make it illegal, more people are going to use it, right? At least to smoke it, like as a drug, to experiment with it. But then you get the paranoia. But then there's going to be like a backlash, you know, all this research that's been done, you know, they're showing that it cures cancer, it repairs and replenishes your immune system. All the other side of it, you know, all the other stuff, you know, the fact that you can run cars on it, you can build cars out of it, you can feed animals on it through the winter, so they'll have loads of proper omega oils in them, so that the meats are a lot healthier than it would be otherwise. Like, so if you feed them soya and corn, then their meat's not going to be healthy to eat. It won't have omega-3 oils in it. But if you give them cannabis to eat for the winter, then they're going to have omega-3 oils in them, lots of them, you know, a good amount. I mean, clothing made of hemp is going to last 10 times longer than this stuff. It's made of cotton that just falls apart in a year or two. You know, hemp clothing lasts for 10 years, 10 or 20 years. It just lasts for 10 times longer. It's 10 times more hard wearing. It's part of this planned obsolescence thing. You know, it's such a... The problem with cannabis is it's such a useful herb. It's got so many good qualities. It gets you high, you know, so that you feel much happier. That's what one of the things the archons don't like, is you getting high and you feeling happy. They don't like cannabis. You know, in Hindu mythology, right, you've got the demon of ignorance, which is, you could connect with the archons. They're like the demon of ignorance. In Hindu mythology, you can say they're the demon of ignorance. He's like a vampire. He's just like a virus. He takes over people's consciousness and spreads, becomes legion. He likes people to be in ignorance. Yeah, have you got anything more to say? You know, just sort of like give me some prods, because, you know, it's nice to get a bit of input from time to time. Oh, I can't tell if anyone's watching anyway. I was watching a video about the woman, this black woman, who supposedly wrote the scripts for the Matrix films and the Terminator films. Apparently, it's the same script. Your last comment says thanks, according to this. HRC. Was I talking about money earlier? I was talking about money. See, the archons want you to be slaves, right? So that's one of the reasons they don't want you to have money. This is why earlier on I was talking about how you need to get money together. And this is also mentioned in the Bible, but we think of it in terms of the Jews, you know, so we think of the Jews as being bad people, but, you know, they're not really. It's not like they're no worse than anyone else, you know. I'm pretty sure we're all the same, you know. If I've made videos about Jews or made comments about Jews being bad people, it's the same as what that Japanese guy says, you know. It's just certain Jews, you know. It's a very small percentage. But the thing is, it's also it's just inevitable. They're just parasites. They just find a way of scamming everyone and like sucking the blood out of the life out of people. They're just like any other parasite, you know. That's what parasites do. You can't. They're not evil as such. They're just that's what parasites do, you know. Yeah, so that's what I see the archons as. It's like the yin and yang, you know. The fool, you know, you can look at it in terms of the Bible. You know, the Bible is probably not very well translated, and it probably would suggest something like the gods created the worlds, and then someone fucked up, and it all went pear shaped. That's basically what happened, you know. And now we have to deal with it, and that's how it is. It's like they could have made it a lot shorter. You know, they didn't need a book. You know, having a book is just basically so that bureaucrats can exist, which is to more parasites, which are more like so a way of the archons getting in. This is why I talk about the written word, because the key to sorting out the problem with the archons, as far as I'm concerned, is to get rid of the written word. That's really what we need to do, is to get rid of the written word. But you need to do it in stages. You've got to do it gradually. You can't rush it. You've got to do it gradually. People need to understand why you need to get rid of the written word. So thanks for asking about this, HRC. You've sort of like helped me clarify something there. I've sort of joined some bits together. My bit of cauliflower, I've got 2 bits of cauliflower up here that have like joined together in perfect harmony. Thanks to you. Okay, so I'm going to end it now on a great, good note. Thank you, HRC. Just check out HRC's channel because he does great videos, and he does quite a lot of them as well. And they're fun and they're usually quite short. Okay, thanks for watching. Share my video, subscribe to my channel. Avoid my mother. If you see her in the sheet, don't talk to her or anything. Thanks for watching. Bye.